Welcome to Private Equity Profits. Clifford Locks is a certified board of director, a trusted confidant to CEOs, C-level exec, and high-potential employees to help them clarify goals, unlock their potential, and create actionable strategic plans. Seth Greene is the nation's foremost authority on growing your business. He is the founder of the direct response marketing firm Market Domination LLC, and he is an 8-time best-selling author who has been interviewed on NBC, CBS, Forbes, Inc., CBS Money Watch, and many more. Cliff and Seth interview top players in the financial sector, focusing on private equity and real estate funds, discussing developments and trends shaping the industry. These experts will share with you how they've leveraged the power of equity funding to grow their businesses and increase profits, and how you can too. And now, here's your host, Seth Greene.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene, joined today by Andy Busser of Pitcairn.com. For almost a century, Pitcairn has partnered with some of the world's wealthiest families to meet their needs and drive better outcomes year to year, decade to decade, generation to generation. Andy, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, thanks for having me.
Let's go back in time a little bit. How did your relationship with Pitcairn start?
Well, I was working with a wealthy family, and like every family, their situation got more complex as they had more kids, more generations. They were a family whose wealth kept growing, even after they'd generally had a liquidity event from their founding business. And so as I kept working with them, it became clear to me that I needed a larger platform. And so I went out and talked to a number of family offices and wealth advisors and met Pitcairn and realized they were the real deal. And so I've been with Pitcairn 6 years. It's a wonderful place.
Well, congratulations on that. What did you like best about it that inspired you to join forces?
Well, as you can imagine, when you serve wealthy families, there are lots of people out there trying to get their hands in your pocket, and they're trying to get money from these families. And so it's very hard to find an authentic advisor for a family, but Pitcairn is an authentic advisor for families. And the firm was founded in 1923 as an advisor for the Pitcairn family. And that's all the firm has ever been, is a true advisor across investments and taxes and trusts and estates and insurance and accounting and a lot of family learning programs. But really, at the end of the day, Pitcairn's an authentic family office, unlike so many other firms out there. And that's really what attracted me.
And what do you see as some of the issues that you're helping clients with? I mean, we're talking about obviously better outcomes. Can you give us, obviously without any client names, can you give us some examples of some of the ways that you're helping them and how that's differentiating you?
Yeah, I mean, you could break it into two categories. So one is providing a comprehensive service experience across all the dimensions of family wealth. Most people just think of investments and they think that being wealthy is easy. Like if I were wealthy, all my problems would go away. But the reality is wealth creates an enormous amount of problems. So there are family dynamics problems. There are your friend problems, your friends who say, hey, could I just borrow some money from you? It's no big deal to you. Or why don't you invest in my cockamamie idea because you got plenty of money, who cares? But the reality is wealth creates a ton of pressure on people. And most people are not prepared to deal with that. So on the one hand, we're different because we provide every service that a wealthy family needs, every financial service and lots of family dynamic services for learning and family missions and values and governance, how you make good decisions in a family. And so that's a big differentiator. And then the other differentiator is we are truly an advocate for our clients. We don't sell anything to our clients. We don't have any products or investments we're trying to get them to make. We're there to be their advocate. And for a lot of people, that's a very valuable resource to have.
So when you talk about family dynamic services, can you give, what does that look like? How do you facilitate that? Because that obviously goes beyond the, traditional family office model where they might call themselves a family office just because they have financial advisors, insurance, accounting, tax, and legal under one roof. You're really going beyond that to serve that next level of need. How does that work?
Yeah, and we've been at this for almost 100 years. I haven't, but the firm has been at it.
You look great.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And the firm's been at this for 100 years. We're on the 6th and 7th generations of our founding family. And for other client families, we're on 2nd, 3rd, 4th generations. So we've seen a lot of generational transitions in families. And one of the things we know is family wealth is not destroyed by a bad investment here or there. It's not destroyed by picking the wrong mutual fund or the wrong private equity fund. It's destroyed by family dynamics and family communication that breaks down. That's the destroyer of wealth. It's the destroyer of family harmony. And so getting that family governance and decision-making right is really important. And I can think of a family we work with, great family, great people, very well educated, extremely successful. They built a very successful company that they took public. And all of a sudden they went from having $5 or $10 million in the bank to having $150 million in the bank. And that's a scary thing. And all of a sudden the family members are a little more concerned. Who's getting what exactly? Who's controlling my assets? Why is my cousin making decisions about my trust? I'm not sure I want my cousin doing that. And also, I've got my brother over here who borrowed my baseball glove when I was 14 and never gave it back. And I'm still mad at him for that. So if you think about all these things, in every family, there are some accumulated grievances here or there. And in most families, there's no money to fight over, so people just kind of let it go. But when you start fighting over 10 or 20 or $50 million, those grievances can be the root of a lot of problems and expensive problems. So spending time getting all the financial things right is important, but spending a lot of time with the family on family dynamics is almost more important than the financial stuff.
Absolutely. We've always said that money magnifies who you are and it magnifies what issues you have. So if you're a jerk and you get money, you'll be more of a jerk. If you're a nice person, might make you even nicer because now you have the resources to be nicer and fund more things. So how do you facilitate that guidance in that process? Because that isn't a traditional, let's go over your portfolio and your estate plan review. That takes other professionals that you have. How does that part of the process work?
Yeah, so we have a team, a family learning team here at Pitcairn, led by a woman named Amy Hart Klein, who is a fabulous researcher and teacher and thinking partner for families. And she's got a great team, Janine Ifla and Ashley Cirillo, really experienced at helping families go through the process of understanding their dynamics, understanding their mission, understanding their values as a family, and helping them set up governance structures that are going to help that family make good long-term decisions. And a lot of times they're bringing in outside experts who are experts in a particular type of family dynamic or a particular kind of business where that might be the key to the family. But there are always tensions. And so having really good experienced facilitators in that learning process, in that family dynamics discovery process is very important. And they go through a process with multiple steps and multiple layers. You don't just sit down for an hour with a family and say, okay, we figured it all out. We're good for the next 30 years. It doesn't work that way.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see wealthy families making that you're helping them avoid or that you wish you could help them avoid?
I think one of the biggest mistakes is all of our clients are wealthy and they got wealthy in all kinds of different ways, but none of them got wealthy running a family office. They got wealthy in the transportation business or the real estate business or the paint business or energy or whatever. None of them got rich running a family office. And so they really don't understand the complexity of running a family office, having multiple stakeholders who all feel, I think rightly, feel that they should have some control over their own destiny. A lot of families, they're used to having one person make all the decisions and then everybody else falls in line, but that doesn't work well, especially in once you've had a liquidity event in your business. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I think wealth creators make is they think, well, because I can run a complicated logistics company, I can also run my family office. Because I can invest in good trucking and warehouses and train contracts and other things, I know how to make investments all over multiple industries beyond my expertise. And that rarely works well. Families make a lot of mistakes there. And that's both a financial mistake and it's a governance mistake, because the family members, or really the family leaders, don't realize enough of their own limits.
Absolutely. You talk a lot about the learning platform. Talk a little bit about the Gen 7 project.
The Gen 7 project is our research and learning hub, and we run a lot of programs out of that. Our team, particularly Amy, has just conducted a very large research project on women family leaders in wealthy families. And this study is just extraordinary. It'll be released in the next few weeks. And it is really one of the best pieces of research I've read on how women are leading changes in wealthy families and how they're leading their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to become better stewards of wealth. And Amy went and talked to, I forget what it was, 40 or 50 different families and women in those families to get a really comprehensive picture. And it's an extraordinary piece of research, and I'm really excited for it to come out.
That is absolutely incredible. Talk a little bit. I mean, you've worked, you can't disclose all, obviously, with client confidentiality, but you've worked with some household names that we would all recognize in terms of wealth creators. What have been some of the lessons you've learned along the way?
Well, that's a great question. I talk more openly with my kids about money certainly than my parents did. My parents didn't have any money, so the conversation was, we don't have any money, it's over. But with my kids, we are much more conscious of talking with them about money, talking with them about the responsibilities of making money and managing it well. Our boys are teenagers, but they both work. And they don't work in glamorous jobs. They are working minimum wage jobs, learning from the ground up how the economy works, what it means to be a responsible employee, what it means to be responsible for your money. And I think that's really one of the best lessons I've learned from our clients and from our business.
That is a great lesson for our folks who are watching or listening who want to learn more. Where is the best place for them to go?
Well, you can certainly start at pitcairn.com, Pitcairn.com. Most people don't immediately know how to spell Pitcairn. And there's a lot of information there on our website, and then they can learn more and figure out, would they be a good candidate for Pitcairn, and would their family benefit from our services?
Awesome. Well, this has been Seth Greene with Andy Busser from Pitcairn.com. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
Seth, thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.